Hey everybody. So, a little bit more discussion on the idea of attributes, skills, fitness, and self-defense. Okay, so one of the things I touched on in the previous video was that idea that all else being equal, attributes trump skill. What does that mean? I'd rather be fit, strong, fast, fearless, have a lot of endurance, be able to take pain, be fearless, all those things, and have really bad technique over having really good technique, but be, like unfit, overweight, weak, slow, cowardly, so on and so forth. So what we generally say is that attributes trump skill. Okay. Now, a couple of things that are important in the context of putting that into your regular training, especially if you're training for self-defense, right? So a couple of things are important. If you're training for self-defense, right, you need to ask yourself, what is it that you're actually training for? If your goal in self-defense is to be able to live the longest, happiest life that you have, right, then fitness should be at probably the top of your priority. Why? For example, for guys my age, I'm 37 now, wish I didn't have to say that, but I did, and guys a little bit older than me, right, the leading cause of death is probably going to be cancer, heart attack, some form of degenerative heart disease or something like that, or dying in a car accident, right? So the things that I need to worry about most of all is making sure that my body is healthy, that I'm mentally okay, all those kind of things to avoid car accidents and illness and anything that can happen as a result of me leading an unhealthy life. Okay, so number one is if you're training for self-defense and you're not looking after your body and you're not looking after your mind, then you've got it all wrong. Okay, that's number one. Okay, number two is, and this is more relevant to what we're doing now, with online training as a result of COVID-19 and all that kind of stuff, is if we look at martial arts training, there's a few elements that we can break it down to, right? So the first one is mastering your own body, then mastering somebody else's body, then the highest level is mastering somebody else's will, you can say. Okay, now, if we're looking at the first level, mastering your own body, right, that's really tied to fitness and attributes in a way, right? So if I want to be able to fight and protect myself, and okay, let's separate those, right? Maybe fight is out of that. But if I want to be able to protect myself physically, right, I need to make sure that my body is in a condition that will allow me to do that. Now, obviously, there's a lot of variables that come into that, right? We can't expect somebody who is, 6'2" and 100 kilos at the age of 20 to perform in the same way as somebody who is, 70 and 5 foot and weighs 60 kilos, right? And vice versa, right? So there's things that we can and can't do as a result of age or injury or whatever, what have you, right? But what we need to do is make sure that if our goal is self-defense, that our body is, as much of the time as possible, in optimal condition. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to train and eat and sleep like an elite athlete all the time, but it means you need to look after yourself. So the first step is making sure that you can master your own body. That means you need to get stronger, you need to get faster, you need to work on your endurance, right? You need to work on your stamina, you need to work on your speed, you need to work on all the things, and those things need to be worked on continuously and consistently, ideally throughout your whole life. Okay, once you've mastered your own body and you can get your body to do what you want it to do, then you can look at mastering somebody else's body and mastering somebody else's will. Especially now that we can't do face-to-face training or contact training as a result of COVID-19, this is the time to focus on mastering your own body, developing your attributes, and improving your fitness. Okay, so this is really, really important. And when you look at any elite combat sport athlete, what do they spend a lot of time doing? They get fitter, they get stronger, right? They get faster, they get more conditioned, right? Strength and conditioning is a real thing, guys. So really, really important to emphasize that. You know, when you look at elite combative athletes, right? They don't just work on technique, they work on those other things just as much. So attributes and skills, right? Attributes are super important. If you're training for self-defense, then making sure your body is fit and healthy as well as your mind, right, should be the top priority, because, you know, complications resulting from that not being the case are more likely to kill you than a violent attack, especially if we're talking about Australia, okay? And lastly, that idea of, you know, the long journey in martial arts obviously revolves around mastering three things. So mastering your own body, mastering somebody else's body, and then mastering somebody else's will. But you have to be able to master your own body first in order to be able to do any of the other ones. Okay? So, guys, get fit. Yeah?